She was returning baby formula because she couldn't afford it. He was a billionaire who'd lost his wife and baby 3 years ago to the same hospital visit. When their eyes met across that checkout line, neither knew that her abusive ex was about to weaponize their connection, that she'd have to break his heart to save her daughter, or that the custody hearing would reveal a truth so twisted it would change everything. For dollars short, that's all it took to start the most impossible love story you've ever heard. Before we reveal what really happened between them, make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel. Thank you. Now back to your story. The can of formula felt like it weighed 100 pounds in Naomi's hands. She stood at register 3, bills spread across the conveyor belt like evidence of her failure. $12.73. The formula cost $16.99. Her fingers trembled as she counted again, knowing the numbers wouldn't change, knowing the tired cashier with the name tag that said Gloria was waiting, knowing the people behind her were staring. "Ma'am?" Gloria's voice was kind but firm. "Do you have another form of payment?" Naomi's chest tightened. Her debit card had been declined twice yesterday. Her credit card had been maxed out 3 months ago when Lily got that ear infection. She had 13 cents in her checking account and this crumpled cash she'd scraped together from tips at the diner, from between couch cushions, from the change jar she'd been filling for 2 years. The words stuck in her throat. "Can you take off the formula? Just ring up the bread and the—" "Mommy needs it." The small voice came from the cart seat where 2-year-old Lily sat, her brown eyes too knowing for a toddler. "For me." Naomi's heart cracked clean through. "Baby, it's okay. Mommy will figure it out." Her voice wavered despite every effort to sound strong. She wouldn't cry. Not here. Not in front of these people who were already judging her black leggings with the hole near the ankle, her oversized hoodie that used to be her ex-boyfriend's, her natural hair pulled back in a messy bun because she couldn't afford the salon anymore. "Some people shouldn't have kids if they can't afford them," a woman muttered 2 customers back. Loud enough to hear. Meant to be heard. Naomi's face burned. She kept her eyes down, started gathering the bills back, her hands shaking now. She'd give Lily the last bit of formula tonight, water it down tomorrow, figure something out by Thursday when her paycheck hit. She'd done it before. She'd survive this. Actually, a voice said from behind her, deep and quiet and careful, "I'd like to pay for her groceries." Naomi spun around. The man standing 3 people back was tall, maybe 6'1", with dark hair starting to gray at the temples and eyes so blue they looked unreal under the store's harsh lighting. He wore a charcoal suit that probably cost more than her monthly rent, a white shirt with no tie, and an expression that made her chest hurt in a completely different way. It wasn't pity. It was something raw. Something broken. No. The word came out sharp, defensive. "Thank you, but no. Please." He took a step forward, and the 2 people between them shifted aside like they'd been expecting this. "Let me help." "I don't need help from strangers." Naomi lifted her chin, even as her eyes burned, even as Lily made a small sound from the cart. "I'm fine. You're $4 short for formula your daughter needs." His voice was gentle but direct, and something about it, the lack of judgment, the straightforward honesty, made her walls crack. "I'm not trying to insult you. I just want to help." "Why?" She crossed her arms, protective, scared. "You don't know me." The man's jaw tightened. For a moment, he looked like he might not answer. Then, "Because someone should have helped my wife when she needed it. And they didn't. And I wasn't there. And now she's gone." The silence in the checkout line was deafening. Naomi stared at him, at the grief carved into his face, at the way his hands were shaking slightly at his sides. This wasn't some rich guy playing savior. This was someone bleeding from a wound that hadn't healed. "Sir," Gloria said softly, "do you want to—" "Yes." He moved forward, pulling out a black credit card. Everything. And add another can of that formula. And he glanced at the cart, at the single loaf of bread, the small bag of apples, the box of crackers. Add whatever else she needs. Diapers, wipes, anything. Stop. Naomi's voice cracked. This is too much. It's not enough. He handed the card to Gloria, then looked at Naomi again. It's never enough. Something passed between them in that moment. Understanding, maybe. Or recognition of shared pain. She didn't know this man's story, but she knew loss when she saw it. It was written in every line of his face. Thank you, she whispered, and hated how small her voice sounded. I'll pay you back. No. He shook his head firmly. That's not why I'm doing this. Gloria rang everything up, added a second can of formula, added a package of diapers Naomi hadn't even picked up. The total was $63 and change. The man didn't flinch. Can I at least know your name? Naomi asked as Gloria bagged everything. So I know who to thank? The man hesitated. Then, Ryan. Ryan Mitchell. Naomi Carter. She extended her hand, and when he shook it, his grip was warm and solid and made her feel anchored for the first time in months. This is Lily. Ryan's eyes moved to the toddler, and something in his expression shattered. Hi, Lily. Lily, who was usually shy with strangers, waved. Hi. She's beautiful, Ryan said, his voice rough. How old? 2. Just turned 2 last month. Naomi gathered the bags, her throat tight. Thank you, Ryan. Really. This means more than you know. Wait. He reached into his jacket pocket, pulled out a business card. I know this is going to sound strange, but do you need a job? Naomi blinked. What? I own a company. We have openings in several departments. Good pay, full benefits, health insurance. He pressed the card into her hand. Call me, please. I don't. She looked down at the card. Mitchell Holdings, LLC. CO, Ryan Mitchell. A downtown address she'd driven past 100 times. You own Charleston's? Among other things. He smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. Call me, Naomi. Let me help more than just this once. Why would you do that for someone you just met? Ryan's smile faded. Because 3 years ago, my wife went into labor early while I was in a business meeting 200 miles away. She drove herself to the hospital. She was alone. And when complications started, when she needed someone there, when she was scared, his voice broke. No one should go through hard things alone. That's why. Naomi's vision blurred. She clutched the card, the bags, everything the stranger had just given her. I'm sorry for your loss. I'm sorry for whatever brought you here tonight. He stepped back, letting the next customer move forward. Call me, Naomi. I mean it. She nodded, unable to speak, and pushed the cart toward the exit with Lily chattering happily about the crackers. At the door, she looked back. Ryan was still standing there, watching her go, that broken expression on his face. And Naomi felt something shift in her chest. Something that scared her. Because she'd learned the hard way that men who offered help usually wanted something in return. Her ex had started with small kindnesses too. Paying her bills. Buying her things. Then using every dollar as leverage, as control, as proof she couldn't survive without him. But Ryan Mitchell didn't look like he wanted control. He looked like he was drowning. That night, after Lily was asleep, Naomi sat at the tiny table in their studio apartment and stared at the business card. The apartment was cold. She kept the heat at 62 to save money. The walls were thin enough to hear the neighbors arguing. The ceiling had a water stain that kept growing. But it was hers. She'd left her ex 2 years ago with nothing but Lily and a duffel bag, and she'd built this life one brutal day at a time. She worked breakfast and lunch shifts at Morningside Diner, then picked up Lily from her neighbor Miss Chen, who watched her for cheap, then worked overnight restocking at a different grocery store 3 nights a week. She was drowning in exhaustion. But she was free. The card felt heavy in her hands. Mitchell Holdings. She'd looked it up on her cracked phone. Ryan Mitchell, 38, CEO of a holding company that owned grocery chains, commercial real estate, and investment portfolios. Net worth estimated at $40 million. And he'd noticed her in a checkout line. Have you ever met someone and just knew they'd change your life? Naomi traced the embossed letters of his name. She thought about the way he'd looked at Lily. The way his voice had broken when he mentioned his wife. The way he hadn't made her feel small even when she was at her lowest. She thought about the formulas sitting in her cabinet. The diapers she desperately needed. The $63 that had just bought her another week of breathing room. And she thought about the job offer. Health insurance. Lily needed to see a dentist. Needed updated vaccinations. Needed so many things Naomi couldn't afford on diner tips and overnight stocking wages. Her phone buzzed. A text from her sister Janelle in Atlanta. You good? Haven't heard from you in a minute. Naomi typed back, I'm fine. Busy. The lie came easily now. She wasn't fine. She was barely surviving. But admitting that meant admitting she'd been wrong to leave her ex, admitting she couldn't make it on her own, admitting all the things her family had warned her about when she got pregnant at 29 by a man who didn't want to be a father. Her phone buzzed again. Janelle, Laya. Call me. Naomi set the phone face down. She picked up Ryan's card again. What did she have to lose? If you've made it this far into the story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Your support helps us keep bringing you more heartwarming stories like this one. Ryan Mitchell sat in his downtown penthouse at midnight, staring at nothing. The place was too big. 1,500 square feet of empty space he'd bought with Claire when they found out she was pregnant. They'd planned to fill it with noise and toys and life. Instead, it was silent except for the hum of the refrigerator and the distant sound of traffic below. He'd replayed the grocery store encounter 100 times. The woman, Naomi, counting bills with shaking hands. The toddler in the cart seat with eyes like Claire's daughter would have had. The whispers from cruel strangers. The moment Naomi's face had crumpled before she'd forced it back into something strong. He'd seen Claire in that moment. Claire, driving herself to the hospital alone because he'd been in Chicago closing a deal. Claire, texting him that the baby was coming early, that something felt wrong, that she was scared. Him, stuck in meetings he couldn't leave, promising he'd be on the next flight, telling her everything would be fine. It wasn't fine. Placental abruption. Emergency C-section. Their daughter, Emma, they'd already named her Emma, born sleeping. Claire hemorrhaging. Doctors fighting. Claire coding. Claire dying. All while he was 30,000 feet in the air, helpless. He'd made it to the hospital 20 minutes after she was gone. 20 minutes. Ryan pressed his palms against his eyes. 3 years, and the guilt hadn't faded. It had burrowed into his bones, made a home there, whispered that he'd failed the person who mattered most. So now he did this. Helped strangers. Paid for groceries. Offered jobs. Tried to fill the void where his wife and daughter should have been. But tonight had been different. Naomi hadn't wanted his help. She'd been proud, defensive, scared. And when she'd finally accepted, there'd been no gratitude performance, no gushing thanks. Just quiet acknowledgement and a trembling hand taking his card. She'd looked at him like she understood. Like she knew what it meant to lose everything. Ryan stood, paced to the window. The city stretched out below him, thousands of lights, thousands of lives, and he felt completely alone in the middle of it all. His phone sat on the counter, silent. Would she call? Did he want her to? Because for the first time in 3 years, he'd felt something other than numbness. Talking to Naomi, seeing her fight to stay strong for her daughter, watching her accept help she clearly hated needing, it had cracked something open in his chest. It had made him feel human again. Ryan picked up his phone, scrolled to his assistant's number, typed out a message: add Naomi Carter to the shortlist for the new program coordinator position. Full benefits package. Flexible hours. Make it work. He hit send before he could second-guess himself. Then he stood at the window until dawn, wondering if saving someone else could ever make up for the people he'd failed to save. Naomi waited 3 days before she called. 3 days of talking herself in and out of it. 3 days of looking at Lily and thinking about health insurance, about not having to work 3 jobs, about maybe, just maybe, catching a break. 3 days of remembering her ex Derek's voice. You need me. You can't do this alone. Without me, you're nothing. But Ryan Mitchell wasn't Derek. Was he? She made the call on her lunch break, standing outside Morningside Diner in the cold October air, her hands shaking as she dialed. Mitchell Holdings, how may I direct your call? Ryan Mitchell, please. This is Naomi Carter. He gave me his card and said to call. The pause. One moment, Miss Carter. Hold music. Naomi's heart hammered. This was stupid. He probably didn't even remember her. Rich people gave out cards all the time, right? It didn't mean. Naomi. Ryan's voice came through, warm and immediate. I'm glad you called. Hi. Her voice came out breathless. I wasn't sure if you actually meant. I meant it. She heard the smile in his voice. Can you come in tomorrow? 10 a.m.? I'd like to discuss the position properly. Position? Program coordinator for a new initiative I'm starting. Community outreach, family assistance programs. I think you'd be perfect for it. Naomi's throat tightened. You don't know anything about me. I know you're a mother who will fight for her child. I know you're strong enough to stand in that checkout line with your head up. I know you're willing to accept help when you need it, which is harder than people think. He paused. I know enough. What's the catch? No catch. Good salary, full benefits, normal hours. You'd be helping families like yours access resources, building programs, coordinating with partner organizations. His voice softened. You'd be helping people who need it. That's all. Tears pricked Naomi's eyes. Why me? Because you understand what it's like to need help. And because... He stopped, then continued quietly. Because when I saw you in that store, I saw someone who deserved better than the hand she'd been dealt. Let me help deal you a better hand, Naomi. She wiped her eyes with her free hand. 10 a.m. tomorrow? I'll have coffee waiting. How do you take it? Black. 2 sugars. See you tomorrow, Naomi. She hung up and stood there in the cold, staring at nothing, wondering if this was the moment her life changed or the moment she made a terrible mistake. Mitchell Holdings occupied the top 3 floors of a building downtown that Naomi had always found intimidating. All glass and steel, all expensive cars in the parking garage, all people in suits who looked like they belonged in a different world than hers. She wore her only professional outfit, black slacks and a cream blouse she'd gotten from Goodwill, paired with flats that pinched her toes. She'd spent an extra 20 minutes on her hair, twisting it into a low bun, and she'd put on the small gold earrings her grandmother had given her before she passed. Armor. All of it. The receptionist, a young white woman with a kind smile, directed her to the 15th floor. Mr. Mitchell is expecting you. His assistant will meet you at the elevator. The elevator ride felt like ascending to another planet. When the doors opened, a middle-aged woman with short gray hair and sharp eyes was waiting. Ms. Carter? I'm Patricia, Mr. Mitchell's executive assistant. Right this way. The office was beautiful in a way that made Naomi's chest tight. Not showy, just expensive. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. Dark wood furniture. Plants that looked actually healthy. Photos on the credenza, Ryan with various people at charity events, ribbon-cutting ceremonies, business openings. And one photo, smaller than the others, half hidden. A blonde woman with a bright smile, her hand on a pregnant belly. Naomi. Ryan emerged from an inner office, and her breath caught. He wore dark jeans and a gray Henley, casual but still put together, and he looked tired. Like he hadn't slept well. Like he carried the world on his shoulders. Hi. She stood awkwardly, not sure what to do with her hands. Thank you for seeing me. Thank you for coming. He gestured to a small sitting area with a couch and chairs. Coffee's on the table. I remembered, black, 2 sugars. He'd remembered. Naomi sat, accepted the coffee cup, tried to ignore how her hands shook slightly. So, tell me about this job. Ryan sat across from her, and for a moment he just looked at her. Really looked, like he was seeing past her clothes and her nervousness to something deeper. 3 years ago, my wife died, he said finally. And in the aftermath, I realized how many systems failed her. Failed us. She needed help and didn't know how to ask. Didn't know resources existed. Felt ashamed for struggling. His voice roughened. I don't want other people to go through that. So I'm starting a foundation. Family assistance, emergency support, resource coordination. And I need someone who understands what it's like to need help to run it. Naomi set down her coffee. I'm not qualified for something like that. You're the most qualified person I could find. Ryan leaned forward. You know what it's like to count change for formula. To work multiple jobs. To go without so your child doesn't have to. That's worth more than any degree. I didn't finish college, she said quietly. I was in nursing school when I got pregnant. My ex, she stopped, swallowed hard. He convinced me to drop out. Said he'd take care of us. Then he used every dollar against me. Ryan's jaw tightened. He hurt you. It wasn't a question. Not physically. Not often. She looked down at her hands. But yeah, he hurt me. I'm sorry. Don't be. I left. I got out. She met his eyes. I'm not a victim, Mr. Mitchell. Ryan, he corrected gently. And I can see that. You're a survivor. That's exactly who I need for this. Naomi studied him. What's really going on here? You don't offer jobs to random women in grocery stores. You're not random. He ran a hand through his hair, frustrated. I know this looks strange. I know you have every reason to be suspicious. But the truth is, he paused, choosing words carefully. I've spent 3 years trying to outrun grief by throwing money at problems. And it hasn't helped. Nothing's helped. But when I saw you in that store, when I saw your daughter, something clicked. I realized I could actually do something meaningful instead of just writing checks to ease my guilt. So I'm your grief project? No. His voice was firm. You're someone who deserves a chance. And I'm someone with resources to give you that chance. It's that simple. Nothing's ever that simple. You're right. Ryan stood, moved to the window, his back to her. Full disclosure, I had my assistant run a basic background check. I know about Derek Watkins. I know about the protective order you filed 2 years ago. I know you work at Morningside Diner and stock shelves at Garner's Grocery 3 nights a week. I know you live in a studio apartment in Riverside and pay $800 a month in rent. Naomi shot to her feet. You investigated me? I did. He turned to face her, and his expression was unapologetic. Because I'm offering you a job with access to foundation funds and vulnerable families. I had to know who you were. But here's what I found. His voice softened. You pay every bill on time, even when it means you go without. You've never missed a shift. Your landlord says you're the best tenant he has. Your neighbor Miss Chin says you're the kindest person she knows. Everyone who knows you says the same thing. You're fighting like hell to build a good life for your daughter. Tears burned behind Naomi's eyes. You had no right. I know. And I'm sorry. But I won't apologize for being thorough when it comes to protecting the people this foundation will serve. He took a step closer. Naomi, I'm not trying to control you or trap you. I'm trying to help. That's all. If you don't want the job, I understand. But please don't walk away because I did my due diligence. She wanted to be angry. She should be angry. But underneath the violation of privacy, underneath the presumption, there was something else. He was right. He was starting a foundation. He needed to be careful. And everything he'd found was true. What's the salary? She asked finally. $55,000 to start. Full health, dental, and vision insurance. For weeks paid vacation. Flex hours so you can be there for Lily. Childcare stipend if you need it. Naomi's knees went weak. $55,000. She made $19,000 last year combined from all her jobs. That's too much. It's market rate for program coordinators in this city. Ryan moved back to the sitting area. Naomi, I'm not offering you charity. I'm offering you a job because I genuinely think you'd be excellent at it. You understand struggle. You know what families need because you've lived it. That perspective is invaluable. She sat back down slowly. When would I start? 2 weeks? That gives you time to give notice at your other jobs. And if I say no, then I'll respect that decision. But I'll also be disappointed because I think we could do real good together. He smiled slightly. And I'd like to think we could be friends, Naomi. I don't have many of those anymore. The honesty in that admission broke something loose in her chest. Okay, she said. I'll do it. Ryan's whole face changed. Relief, joy, something close to hope. Yeah. She picked up her coffee, took a sip, let herself breathe. But I have conditions. Name them. I want everything in writing. Contract, job description, expectations. I want clear boundaries about work and personal life. And I want to know, really know, that this isn't about you trying to save me because you couldn't save your wife. The words hung in the air, brutal and honest. Ryan flinched but didn't look away. Fair question. And here's my honest answer. I don't know. Maybe part of this is about Claire. Maybe I'm trying to make up for failing her by helping you. But that doesn't make the help less real. It doesn't make the job less legitimate. And it doesn't mean I see you as a replacement or a project. He met her eyes. I see you as someone strong enough to survive what would break most people. And I want to work with that person. Naomi nodded slowly. Then let's do this. Ryan extended his hand. Welcome to Mitchell Holdings, Naomi. She shook it, and again felt that strange spark, that sense of connection she couldn't explain. And for the first time in 2 years, she let herself hope. The next 2 weeks blurred past. Naomi gave notice at both jobs, enduring her manager at the diner asking if she'd found herself a sugar daddy, and her supervisor at the grocery store warning her that rich people always want something. She ignored them both. Miss Chun cried happy tears when Naomi explained she'd have better hours. You deserve this, honey. You work so hard. Janelle called from Atlanta, suspicious. A millionaire just gave you a job? Naomi, that doesn't happen in real life. It happened, Naomi said firmly. I start Monday. What's his angle? He doesn't have one. Everyone has an angle. But Naomi was tired of being cynical. Tired of assuming the worst. Ryan Mitchell had been nothing but kind, nothing but professional, nothing but genuine. Maybe good things could happen. Maybe she was allowed to catch a break. Her first day at Mitchell Holdings, Patricia gave her a tour of the office, introduced her to the small team, 3 other people working on various foundation initiatives, and showed her to her own office. Her own office. With a door. And a window. And a desk that wasn't a folding table in a studio apartment. "Mr. Mitchell wants to see you at 11, Patricia said. "He has ideas for the first program rollout." Naomi spent the morning reading through files, learning the foundation structure, trying not to feel like an imposter. At 11, she knocked on Ryan's office door. "Come in." He was at his desk, sleeves rolled up, hair slightly messy like he'd been running his hands through it. He looked up when she entered, and his whole expression softened. "Naomi, how's the first day?" "Overwhelming," she admitted. "But good. Sit. Please." He gestured to the chair across from him. "I wanted to go over the holiday assistance program. We're thinking grocery vouchers, formula support, toy drives. I'd like your input on what would actually help versus what sounds good on paper." They spent an hour talking, and Naomi was surprised by how easy it was. Ryan listened to everything she said, took notes, asked follow-up questions. He didn't talk down to her or dismiss her ideas. He treated her like an equal. Like her voice mattered. "What about a partnership with local daycares?" she suggested. "Subsidized childcare for families who qualify? That would help more than one-time grocery vouchers." Ryan's eyes lit up. "That's brilliant. Can you research providers and put together a proposal?" "You trust me to do that?" "Naomi, I hired you because I trust your judgment." "Yes." She left his office feeling 10 feet tall. Over the next month, they fell into a rhythm. Morning meetings to discuss programs. Afternoon work sessions where they'd strategize outreach. Occasional lunches where they'd talk about logistics, and slowly, carefully about other things too. She learned he'd grown up middle class, built his wealth through smart investments and risk-taking. He learned she'd always wanted to be a nurse, that she still dreamed about going back to school someday. She learned he hadn't dated anyone since Claire died. He learned her ex still texted sometimes, trying to manipulate his way back into her life. She learned he visited Claire's grave every Sunday. He learned she was terrified of failing Lily the way her own mother had failed her. They didn't talk about the grief much. It was there, always there, but they moved around it carefully. 2 wounded people learning to trust again. And then 6 weeks in, everything shifted. It was late. Almost 7. Most of the office had gone home, but Naomi was finishing a grant application that was due the next day. Her eyes burned from staring at the computer screen, and she was debating whether to take a break when Ryan appeared in her doorway. "You're still here." She looked up. "So are you." "Fair point." He leaned against the doorframe. "Take a break. Come have coffee with me." "Ryan, I really need to finish. It can wait 20 minutes. Come on." She followed him to the break room, where he made coffee in the fancy machine she still hadn't figured out how to use. He handed her a cup, black, 2 sugars, and leaned against the counter. "How's Lily?" he asked. "Good. She asks about you sometimes." His eyebrows rose. "She does. You're the nice man who bought crackers." Naomi smiled. "She has a long memory. I'd like to meet her properly sometime. If that's okay." Something in his voice made her heart stutter. "Why?" "Because she's important to you. And you're—" He stopped, set down his coffee. "You're becoming important to me." The air in the break room changed. Naomi set down her own cup carefully. "Ryan, I'm not trying to make this weird," he said quickly. I want to be honest. Working with you these past weeks, getting to know you, watching you pour yourself into this foundation, it's made me feel alive again. And I didn't think I'd ever feel that way after Claire." "You're grieving," Naomi said gently. "And I'm grateful for everything you've done for me. But confusing gratitude and grief with something else. I'm not confused." He met her eyes. "I know what this is. I'm drawn to you, Naomi. Not because you remind me of Claire or because I'm trying to save you. Because you're smart and strong and funny and real. Because when I'm around you, I don't feel like I'm drowning anymore." Her breath caught. "I work for you. I know. And if that's a line you won't cross, I'll respect that. We'll stay professional. Nothing has to change." He took a step closer. "But I needed you to know. I needed to be honest." Naomi's heart hammered. She thought about Derek, about manipulation, about control disguised as love. But when she looked at Ryan, she didn't see any of that. She saw a man being vulnerable, taking a risk, offering his heart with shaking hands. "I'm scared," she whispered. "Me too. My last relationship almost destroyed me." "I know. And I would never," his voice roughened, "I would never hurt you, Naomi. I swear." "You can't promise that. Nobody can." "You're right." He reached out slowly, giving her time to pull away, and took her hand. "But I can promise I'll try. I can promise I'll be honest. I can promise I'll respect your boundaries and your choices. And I can promise that whatever this is between us, it's real. At least for me." Naomi looked down at their joined hands. His were larger, calloused despite his wealth, warm and solid. Hers were trembling. "I don't know if I can do this," she said. "Then we won't. Not until you're ready. If you're ever ready." He squeezed her hand gently. "I'll wait, Naomi. As long as it takes." She looked up at him, at the sincerity in his blue eyes, at the hope and fear and longing written across his face. And she made a choice. "Ask me to dinner," she said softly. Ryan's eyes widened. "What?" "Ask me to dinner. Not as my boss." A slow smile spread across his face, transforming it. "Naomi Carter, would you have dinner with me this Saturday? Somewhere quiet where we can talk?" "Yes," she whispered. "Yes, I will." He lifted her hand to his lips, pressed a gentle kiss to her knuckles, and Naomi felt her carefully constructed walls begin to crumble. Maybe some risks were worth taking. Maybe some people were worth trusting. Maybe, just maybe, she was allowed to be happy. Saturday arrived wrapped in November cold and Naomi's absolute panic. She tried on every piece of clothing she owned, twice, before settling on a burgundy sweater dress she'd found at a thrift store and her only pair of heeled boots. Her hair was down, natural curls framing her face in a way that made her feel both beautiful and vulnerable. Lily sat on the bed watching. "Mommy looks pretty." "Thank you, baby." Naomi checked her reflection for the 100th time. "Miss Chen's going to watch you tonight, okay? Mommy's going to dinner." "With the cracker man?" Despite her nerves, Naomi laughed. "Yes. With Ryan. I like him." Lily swung her legs, thoughtful in the way 2-year-olds sometimes were. "He has sad eyes." Naomi's chest tightened. "Yeah, baby. He does." The doorbell rang at exactly 6. Naomi took a breath, smoothed her dress, and opened the door. Ryan stood in the hallway holding a small bouquet of sunflowers, not roses, not something cliché, and he looked nervous. He wore dark jeans, a navy sweater, and a jacket that looked warm and expensive. His hair was slightly damp, like he'd just showered. "Hi," he said, and his voice was softer than she'd ever heard it. "Hi." She accepted the flowers, breathed in their faint scent. "These are beautiful. You mentioned once that sunflowers were your favorite." I remembered. Her heart did something complicated in her chest. "Come in for a second. I need to put these in water and grab my coat." Ryan stepped into her small studio apartment, and Naomi watched him take it all in. The tiny kitchen, the futon that doubled as her bed, the corner where Lily's toddler bed sat surrounded by toys, the single window with its view of the parking lot. She waited for judgment, for pity. Instead, Ryan smiled. It's warm. Feels like a home. It's small, Naomi said, defensive despite herself. It's yours. That matters more than size. He crouched down as Lily appeared from behind the partial wall that separated the sleeping area. Hi, Lily. Remember me? Lily nodded solemnly. You bought crackers. I did. And you know what? I brought you something else. He reached into his jacket pocket and pulled out a small stuffed sunflower with a smiling face. For you. Lily's eyes went huge. She looked at Naomi for permission, and when Naomi nodded, she took the toy carefully, hugging it to her chest. Thank you. You're very welcome. Ryan straightened, and when he looked at Naomi, his eyes were suspiciously bright. She's incredible. She is. Naomi's throat was tight. She turned away quickly, filling a mason jar with water for the sunflowers, blinking back tears. Men didn't bring gifts for her daughter. Men didn't remember small details. Men didn't look at her like Ryan was looking at her, like she was something precious. Miss Chen arrived moments later, a sweet older woman who'd lived next door for 5 years and loved Lily like a granddaughter. You two have fun. Don't rush back. She'll be asleep by 8, Naomi said, kissing Lily's forehead. Be good, baby. I will, Mommy. The restaurant was small and Italian, tucked into a quiet street downtown. Nothing too fancy, red-checked tablecloths, candles and wine bottles, the smell of garlic and fresh bread. I thought about taking you somewhere expensive, Ryan admitted as they sat down. But then I figured you'd hate that. Naomi laughed. You figured right. I want you comfortable, not impressed. Why not both? She teased and was rewarded with his genuine smile. They ordered pasta for her, chicken for him, and for a few minutes there was comfortable silence. Then Ryan spoke. Tell me about nursing school. Why did you want to be a nurse? Naomi traced the rim of her water glass. My grandmother raised me after my mom. She paused. My mom struggled with addiction. She'd disappear for weeks, come back strung out, disappear again. My grandmother was the stable one. And when I was 16, she had a stroke. She looked up at Ryan, who was listening intently, no phone in sight, no distraction. Just complete attention. The nurses at the hospital were so kind to her. To me. They made the worst time bearable. I remember thinking, I want to be that person for someone else. I want to help people through the hard things. She smiled sadly. Then I got pregnant, and Derek convinced me I couldn't do both. Convinced me I wasn't smart enough anyway. He was wrong. Ryan's voice was fierce. Naomi, you're one of the smartest people I've ever met. The work you've done on the foundation in just 6 weeks, it's remarkable. I'm good at organizing. That's different than... Stop. He reached across the table, covered her hand with his. Don't minimize yourself. Derek spent years tearing you down. Don't finish his work for him. The words hit like a slap and a bomb at the same time. How do you know so much about emotional abuse? She asked quietly. Ryan's jaw tightened. My father. He was like that with my mother. Never hit her, but the words. He shook his head. Words can destroy just as effectively as fists. I watched her shrink for years until she finally left when I was 17. She rebuilt herself after that, but the damage was done. I swore I'd never be like him. Is that why you notice? Why you help? Partly. And partly because Claire, his voice caught. She needed help, and I wasn't there. I'll carry that the rest of my life, Naomi. The guilt of it. Their food arrived, giving them a moment to collect themselves. They ate quietly for a while, then Naomi asked the question she'd been holding. Tell me about her. About Claire. Ryan looked surprised. You want to know? If we're going to, whatever this is, I need to know her. She's part of you. He set down his fork, took a breath. We met in college. She was studying art history and I was in business. Complete opposites. She saw beauty in everything. Paintings, poetry, old buildings. I saw spreadsheets and opportunities. He smiled at the memory. She softened me. Made me see the world differently. How long were you married? 5 years. We'd been trying for a baby for 3 of those years. IVF, treatments, everything. Finally it worked. She was so happy. His eyes glistened. 28 weeks along, she went into labor early. I was in Chicago, 200 miles away, closing a deal that seemed so important at the time. Ryan. She texted me. Something's wrong. Baby's coming. I'm scared. His voice broke, and I texted back, I'll be there soon. You're strong. You've got this. Like that was enough. Like words could save her. Naomi's own eyes filled with tears. Placental abruption. Emma was stillborn. Claire hemorrhaged. By the time I got there, he wiped his eyes roughly. I held her hand and she was already gone. Both of them. Gone. I'm so sorry, Naomi whispered, squeezing his hand. I sold the house. Moved to the penthouse. Threw myself into work. Built the company bigger, made more money, like that would matter. Like success could fill the hole they left. He looked at her. And then I saw you in that grocery store, and something shifted. You were fighting so hard for your daughter, and I thought, that's what love looks like. That's what being a parent means. And I wanted to be part of something real again. I'm not a replacement for them, Naomi said gently. I know. You're not. He searched for words. You're the first person who's made me want to live again instead of just survive. That's different. The weight of his honesty settled between them. I'm scared of this, Naomi admitted. Of what I feel when I'm around you. What do you feel? Safe. Like maybe I'm allowed to want more than just survival too. She met his eyes. But I have Lily to think about. And a history of choosing wrong. And if this goes bad, then we'll handle it like adults. But Naomi, he leaned forward, his eyes intense. What if it doesn't go bad? What if this is the thing that goes right for both of us? That's a big what if. Most good things are. Their waitress came to clear plates, offer dessert. They declined, and Ryan paid the check despite Naomi's half-hearted protest. Outside, the November air was sharp and cold. Ryan offered his arm, and after a moment's hesitation, Naomi took it. They walked slowly toward his car, but neither seemed eager to end the night. Come somewhere with me, Ryan said suddenly. Where? We'll see. If you trust me. Naomi looked at him, at his hopeful expression, at the vulnerability he wore like a second skin, and made another choice. Okay. 20 minutes later, they pulled up to a cemetery on the outskirts of town. Ryan, I want you to meet her, he said quietly. If that's okay. Naomi's throat closed. This was huge. This was real. This was him inviting her into the most painful part of his life. Okay, she whispered. They walked through the dark cemetery, Ryan leading the way with confident steps that said he'd made this walk countless times. Finally, he stopped at a headstone made of gray granite. Claire Elizabeth Mitchell 1989 to 2022 beloved wife and mother Emma Rose Mitchell born and called home January 15, 2022. Naomi read the words, felt them like a punch to the chest. Ryan crouched down, brushed leaves off the stone. Hi, Claire. Hi, Emma. His voice was thick. I brought someone to meet you. Her name is Naomi. He paused. She's special. I think you'd like her. Tears streamed down Naomi's face. She has a daughter, Lily, 2 years old. Beautiful and smart and funny. Ryan stood, turned to Naomi. I wanted Claire to know. I wanted to tell her that I'm trying to live again. That I'm not betraying her memory by feeling something for someone else. Oh, Ryan. Naomi stepped forward, wrapped her arms around him. He held her tight, his face buried in her hair, his whole body shaking with silent sobs. And Naomi held him through it, this broken man who was trying so hard to heal, who was brave enough to bring her here, to this sacred space. She'd want you to be happy, Naomi whispered. I know she would. How do you know? Because that's what love is. Wanting the other person to live fully, even when you can't be there. Ryan pulled back slightly, cupped her face in his hands. How are you this wise? I'm not. I'm just a woman who's learned that life is too short to spend it scared. Are you scared now? Terrified, she admitted. But I'm here anyway. That's bravery, Naomi. So is this. She gestured to the headstone. Bringing me here. Trusting me with this part of you. They stood there in the cold, holding each other, and something settled between them. Something solid. Something real. When they finally left, Ryan took her hand in the car, and Naomi didn't pull away. He drove her home, walked her to her door. Thank you, she said softly. For tonight. For all of it. Thank you for saying yes. He hesitated. Can I see you again? Not just at work, but like this. Yes. She smiled. I'd like that. Ryan's whole face lit up. Yeah. She went up on her toes, pressed a soft kiss to his cheek. Good night, Ryan. Good night, Naomi. She watched him walk away, watched him look back twice before reaching the stairs, and when she closed the door, she leaned against it and let herself feel everything. Excitement. All of it. Miss Chen poked her head around the corner. Good date. Really good, Naomi whispered. He seems like a good man. He is. Naomi smiled. I think he really is. That night, after Miss Chen left and Lily was asleep, Naomi lay in bed and let herself imagine. A life that wasn't just surviving. A relationship built on honesty and respect. A man who saw her wounds and didn't run. It was dangerous, imagining. But maybe that was okay. Maybe some risks were worth taking after all. Over the next month, they fell. Slowly, carefully, but definitely falling. Ryan took her to art museums and listened to her thoughts about paintings she'd never studied. Naomi cooked him dinner in her tiny kitchen and laughed when he admitted he couldn't cook to save his life. They had coffee before work meetings, lunch in the office break room, late-night phone calls when Lily was asleep. And gradually, carefully, they told each other their stories. She told him about her mother's addiction, about raising herself essentially, about choosing Derek because he'd seemed stable and safe, about the slow erosion of her self-worth, the isolation, the moment she'd looked at newborn Lily and realized she had to leave or risk her daughter growing up watching her mother shrink. You saved yourself, Ryan said. That's extraordinary. I didn't have a choice. You did. You could have stayed. You could have let him break you completely. But you didn't. He told her about his father's cruelty, about watching his mother fade, about the guilt he carried for not protecting her better, about building his company partially to prove he was nothing like the man who'd raised him, about Claire's death replaying in his mind every night for 3 years. I dream about it, he admitted one night when they were sitting in his car outside her apartment, neither ready to say goodnight. I dream I make the flight. I get there in time. I save them both. And when you wake up? I remember I can't save anyone. I can only try to do better going forward. That's all any of us can do. They didn't rush the physical part. No pressure, no expectations. But the tension built slowly, sweetly. His hand on the small of her back when they walked. Her fingers brushing his arm when she laughed. The way he tucked her hair behind her ear. The way she rested her head on his shoulder. Small touches that meant everything. And then came the day Lily met him properly. It was a Saturday in early December. Ryan had suggested a trip to the Children's Museum, and Naomi had agreed, though her stomach was in knots. What if she doesn't like him? She'd asked Janelle on the phone the night before. She already likes him. She talks about the cracker man constantly, Naomi. Relax. But relaxing was impossible when your daughter meeting the man you were falling for felt like the most important test of your life. Ryan picked them up at 10. He dressed casual, jeans, a soft blue sweater that made his eyes impossible to ignore, sneakers. Not trying to impress, just being himself. "Hi, Lily," he said, crouching to her level. "Remember me?" Lily nodded, clutching her stuffed sunflower. "Your mommy's friend." "I am. Is it okay if I spend the day with you and your mommy?" Another nod. "Great. I heard there's a dinosaur exhibit at the museum. Do you like dinosaurs?" Lily's eyes went wide. "Really? Really?" And just like that, the ice was broken. The museum was magic. Ryan let Lily set the pace, following her from exhibit to exhibit, never rushing, never impatient. He helped her with the interactive displays, read signs to her in silly voices that made her giggle, picked her up so she could see the tall dinosaur skeleton better. And Naomi watched, her heart expanding in her chest until it hurt. This was what she'd never had with Derek. This patience. This joy. This genuine interest in Lily as a person, not just an accessory. At lunch in the museum cafe, Lily sat between them, eating chicken nuggets and chattering about everything they'd seen. "Did you see the T-Rex, Mommy? Did you? It was so big. I saw a baby. It was amazing." Lily turned to Ryan. "Did you like the T-Rex?" "I loved it. But you know what my favorite part was?" "What?" "Getting to see it with you." Lily beamed, and Naomi had to look away to hide her tears. After lunch, as they walked through the science section, Lily suddenly grabbed Ryan's hand with the trust only children have. And Ryan looked down at that small hand in his, and his expression broke Naomi's heart wide open. He'd lost Emma. He'd never gotten to do this with his daughter. And now he was here, with Lily, having a second chance at something beautiful. On the drive home, Lily fell asleep in her car seat, exhausted and happy. Ryan pulled up outside Naomi's apartment but didn't turn off the car. "Today was perfect," he said quietly. "She loves you already." Naomi's voice was thick. I could see it. "I love her too. How could I not?" He reached over, took Naomi's hand. "She's a part of you. And you," he paused. "Naomi, I'm falling for you. I need you to know that." Her breath caught. "Ryan, I know it's fast. I know we're still figuring this out. But I need to be honest." His eyes were intense. "I'm falling in love with you. With your strength and your heart and your laugh. With the way you love Lily and fight for what matters. With all of it." Tears spilled down Naomi's cheeks. "I'm scared." "I know. But are you falling too?" She looked at him, really looked. At this man who'd shown her nothing but kindness and respect. Who'd brought her into his grief and trusted her with it. Who'd spent a day making her daughter smile and never once made it about himself. "Yes," she whispered. "I'm falling too." Ryan's smile could have powered the whole city. Yeah. She laughed through her tears. "God help me, I'm falling in love with you, Ryan Mitchell." He cupped her face, his thumb wiping away her tears. "Can I kiss you?" "Yes." He leaned across the console, and his lips met hers, gentle and careful and perfect. The kiss was soft, questioning, full of promise. And when they pulled apart, Both breathing hard, Naomi felt like she just jumped off a cliff. Falling. Both of them. Together. Everything changed 3 days before Christmas. They'd been together, officially, for 6 weeks. 6 weeks of stolen moments, of learning each other, of building something that felt real and lasting. Ryan had met Janelle via video chat. Naomi had seen his penthouse. They'd had family dinners in her tiny apartment with Lily chattering happily between them. It was good. Better than good. It was the kind of happiness Naomi had stopped believing existed. And then Derek showed up. She was leaving work late. Ryan was in a board meeting, so she'd stayed to finish grant applications, when she saw him leaning against her car in the parking garage. Her whole body went cold. Derek Watkins looked the same. Tall, brown skin, athletic build, the same charming smile that had fooled her for years. But now she knew what lived behind that smile. Naomi. He pushed off the car. Baby, you look good. Get away from my car. Her voice shook, but she kept walking, keys clutched in her fist like a weapon. That's no way to greet your daughter's father. You signed away your rights. You wanted nothing to do with her. I've been thinking about that. He stepped closer. Made a mistake. I want to be involved again. Want to see my daughter. No. Naomi reached her car, but Derek was blocking the door. Move. We should talk about this. Me, Lily. We're a family. We were never a family. You were a controller and I was your victim. But I'm not anymore. She met his eyes. Move, Derek. Or what? You'll call that rich white boy you've been fucking? The words hit like a slap. How do you? I've been watching. Derek's smile turned cruel. Saw him with you and Lily at that museum. Saw him kissing you in his fancy car. Tell me, Naomi, does he know what you really are? Does he know you're damaged goods? A dropout with a kid and nothing to offer? Stop. Her voice cracked. I made you. When I met you, you were nothing, broke nursing student with dreams too big for your brain. I gave you a place to live, money, stability. And you left me. Took my daughter and ran like I was the villain. You are. Tears burned behind her eyes, but she refused to cry. You tore me down every day. You made me believe I was worthless. You controlled every dollar, every choice, every breath. I loved you. That's not what love is. Derek's expression hardened. This rich guy? He's using you, Naomi. Men like him don't actually want women like us. You're a project. A charity case. Something to make him feel good about himself. And when he's done playing savior, he'll throw you away. You're wrong. Am I? How'd you meet him? Oh, right. In a checkout line when you couldn't afford formula. Derek laughed, cruel and cold. He felt sorry for you. That's all this is. Pity. The words burrowed into her brain, found the soft places, the doubts she'd been trying to ignore. Move, she said again, her voice barely above a whisper. I want visitation with Lily. And I want you to remember something. Derek leaned close, his voice dropping. You'll always come back to me. Because no one else will want you. Not really. Not when they see who you actually are. Then he stepped aside, and Naomi scrambled into her car with shaking hands. She didn't let herself cry until she was 3 blocks away. She didn't tell Ryan. For 3 days, she carried Derek's words like poison in her bloodstream. She went through the motions, work, caring for Lily, Christmas preparations, but part of her was back in that parking garage, hearing the truth she'd been avoiding. He's using you. You're a charity case. Pity. She started pulling away. Small things Ryan probably noticed but didn't push. Ending phone calls early. Being distant at work. Canceling their date night with an excuse about Lily being sick. Naomi, is everything okay? Ryan asked on Christmas Eve. They were in his office, supposedly reviewing foundation numbers, but he was watching her with concerned eyes. Fine. Just tired. You seemed off since Monday. Did something happen? No. Just, it's Christmas. Emotional time of year. Ryan didn't look convinced, but he let it go. I got something for Lily. And for you. I wanted to give them to you before tomorrow. Ryan, you didn't have to. I wanted to. He pulled 2 wrapped gifts from his desk drawer. Please. Naomi opened Lily's first, a beautiful children's book about a girl who became a nurse. Her throat closed. You remembered. Always. Ryan's voice was soft. Open yours. Her hands shook as she unwrapped it, a delicate silver bracelet with a single charm, a sunflower. Ryan, this is too much. It's not enough. He moved around the desk, took the bracelet, fastened it around her wrist. Naomi, you've brought light back into my life. I wanted you to have something to remind you that you're valued, that you matter. The tears came then hot and fast. Hey. Ryan pulled her into his arms. What's wrong? Talk to me. Why are you with me? The question spilled out before she could stop it. Really? Why? Ryan pulled back, confusion and hurt in his eyes. What? I'm a single mom who didn't finish college. I was struggling to buy formula 2 months ago. You're a millionaire who could have anyone. So why me? Naomi, do you feel sorry for me? Am I a project? Someone to fix so you feel better about not saving Claire? The words hung between them, terrible and raw. Ryan's face went pale. Is that what you think? I don't know what to think. She wiped her eyes furiously. This whole thing happened so fast. You saw me at my lowest and swooped in with money and a job and fell in love with you, Ryan interrupted, his voice strained. That's what happened, Naomi. I fell in love with you. How do I know that's real? How do I prove it? His voice rose slightly. What do you need from me? Because I've been as honest as I know how to be. I've introduced you to my grief, my guilt, my whole broken heart. I've opened up in ways I haven't since Claire died. What more can I give you? I don't know. She was crying openly now. I don't know, Ryan. All I know is that my ex showed up and said exactly what I've been scared of thinking, that you're just using me to feel better about yourself. That I'm charity. That when you're done playing savior, you'll realize I'm not worth it. Your ex. Ryan's voice went cold. Derek was here? Monday. In the parking garage. And you didn't tell me? Hurt flashed across his face. Naomi, if he's harassing you. He wants visitation with Lily. He has no rights. He signed them away. I know. But her voice broke. He said things. True things. About how we met. About what I was when you found me. Stop. Ryan gripped her shoulders gently. Stop letting him poison this. Everything he said is a lie designed to get you back under his control. Is it? Is it really? Naomi met his eyes. Because sometimes I lie awake wondering the same things. Wondering when you'll wake up and realize I don't fit in your world. That I'm not enough. You're everything, Ryan said fiercely. God, Naomi, you're everything I never thought I'd have again. You're not a project. You're not charity. You're the woman I'm in love with. The woman who makes me want to be better. The woman whose strength and courage and heart changed my entire life. But what if? No what ifs. He cupped her face, forcing her to look at him. I choose you. Not because I feel sorry for you. Not because you remind me of Claire. Not because I'm trying to save you. I choose you because you're brilliant and kind and real. Because when I'm with you, I feel alive. Because Lily makes me laugh and you make me believe in the future again. Ryan, I love you. His voice cracked. I love you so much it scares me. And if you need time, if you need space, I'll give you that. But don't let Derek win. Don't let him convince you that what we have isn't real. Naomi stared at him, at the tears in his eyes, at the raw honesty on his face. And slowly, carefully, she let herself believe him. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "I'm sorry. I'm scared of getting hurt again." "I know. I'm scared too." Ryan pressed his forehead to hers. "But we're scared together. That counts for something." "I love you," she said, the words coming easier now. "I do. I need to deal with Derek. I need to make sure he can't hurt us. Then we deal with him together. Okay? You're not alone anymore, Naomi." She nodded and he kissed her, soft and slow and full of promise. But as she left that night, Derek's words still echoed. "You'll always come back to me. No one else will want you. Not when they see who you actually are." Christmas Day was quiet. Ryan came to her apartment with gifts for Lily, the book, a stuffed dinosaur, and a donation made in her name to the children's hospital. Practical and thoughtful and perfect. They cooked together. Well, Naomi cooked while Ryan and Lily decorated cookies with enough frosting to put them all in sugar comas. It should have been perfect. But Naomi couldn't shake the feeling that the other shoe was about to drop. That night, after Lily was asleep and they were cuddled on the futon watching a Christmas movie, Ryan spoke quietly. "I hired a lawyer. For you. To deal with Derek." Naomi sat up. "What?" "He can't just show up and harass you. He signed away his rights. If he wants them back, he'll have to go through the courts. And I've made sure you have the best family lawyer in the state to fight him." "Ryan, I can't afford." "You're not paying. I am. And before you argue," he held up a hand. "This isn't about control or debt or obligation. This is about protecting you and Lily. Please let me do this." Naomi's eyes filled with tears. "Why do you keep saving me?" "I'm not saving you. You saved yourself long before I came along." He pulled her close. "I'm just making sure you have the resources to stay safe. There's a difference." She buried her face in his chest. "I don't deserve you. That's backward. I don't deserve you." He kissed the top of her head. "But I'm going to spend every day trying to be worthy of you anyway." They sat like that for a long time, holding each other in the soft glow of Christmas lights, both trying to believe the other shoe wouldn't drop. But in the back of Naomi's mind, Derek's voice whispered. And she couldn't quite silence it. The day after Christmas, everything fell apart. Naomi arrived at work to find an envelope on her desk, unmarked, but she knew immediately what it was. Inside, court documents. Derek was suing for custody. Her hands shook as she read. He was claiming she was an unfit mother, unstable employment history, inadequate housing, involvement with a man he'd never met. He was asking for full custody and supervised visitation for Naomi. The world tilted. "No." She whispered it, then louder. "No, no, no." "Naomi." Ryan appeared in her doorway. "What's wrong?" She couldn't speak. Just handed him the papers. She watched his face change as he read, concern to anger to protective fury. "He can't do this. This is retaliation, not legitimate concern for Lily. He's going to take her." Naomi's voice was hollow. "He's going to take my daughter." "No. No, he's not. We have a lawyer. We'll fight this." "With what?" "My history makes me look awful on paper. Dropped out of school, left him, moved constantly, couldn't keep stable employment." She looked up at Ryan. "And he'll use you against me. He'll say I'm so desperate I'll sell myself to a rich man for financial security. He'll twist everything. That's not what this is. But that's how it'll look." She stood abruptly. "I need to call Janelle. I need to breathe." Ryan moved toward her. "Naomi, breathe. He's going to take Lily. After everything I've survived, everything I've done to build a life for her, her voice broke. He's going to win because I'm not enough. You're more than enough. And he's not going to win. I won't let him. This isn't your fight. Like hell it isn't. Ryan's voice was steel. You're mine. Lily's yours. That makes her mine to protect too. And I have resources Derek doesn't have. Lawyers, investigators, money. That's exactly the problem. Naomi pulled away from him. You have everything. And I have nothing. And that's what he'll use. That I need you. That I'm dependent on you. That our whole relationship is transactional. It's not. But how do we prove that? Tears streamed down her face. How do I prove I'm a good mother when everything about my life looks like failure? Ryan looked gutted. Your life isn't a failure. Tell that to a judge. They stared at each other, the weight of impossible choices pressing down. And for the first time since they met, Naomi wondered if Derek was right. If maybe love wasn't enough when the world was determined to tear you apart. The lawyer Ryan hired, Michelle Torres, a sharp-eyed woman in her 50s with a reputation for destroying abusive exes in court, laid it out plainly. Derek's case is weak, she said, sitting across from Naomi and Ryan in her downtown office 3 days after the custody papers arrived. But weak doesn't mean harmless. He's going to paint you as unstable, and your rapid lifestyle change, new job, new relationship, new financial situation, can be twisted to look suspicious. So what do we do? Ryan asked, his hand tight around Naomi's. We document everything. Every text Derek sent. Every threat. Every time he violated the agreement. We show the judge that Naomi has been nothing but a devoted mother who escaped an abusive situation and built a stable life. Michelle looked at Naomi. But I need to ask some hard questions. And I need honest answers. Naomi nodded, her throat tight. Your relationship with Mr. Mitchell. How long after he hired you did it become romantic? 6 weeks. And the job. Was there any expectation of romantic involvement tied to employment? No. Naomi's voice was firm. Never. But Derek will argue you felt pressured. That the power dynamic made genuine consent impossible. Michelle's expression was sympathetic but direct. He'll say you traded sex for job security. Ryan's jaw clenched. That's a lie. Doesn't matter if it's true. Matters if it sounds plausible. Michelle turned to him. Mr. Mitchell, your involvement complicates things. You're wealthy, white, and her employer. In front of the wrong judge, that plays badly. So what are you saying? Naomi pulled her hand from Ryan's. That he needs to stay away from me? From us. I'm saying we need to be strategic. Derek's lawyer will use the interracial aspect, the wealth gap, the employer-employee relationship, all of it, to paint you as either desperate or opportunistic. We need to counter that narrative. How? Ryan leaned forward. I love her. I'm not hiding that. I'm not asking you to hide it. I'm asking you to be smart about how we present it. Michelle pulled out a folder. Here's what we do. Naomi moves to a better apartment, still within her original means, not anything Ryan pays for. We show financial independence. We get character witnesses, her neighbors, co-workers, Lily's pediatrician. We document her work at the foundation as legitimate employment with real responsibilities. And we show that her relationship with Ryan developed naturally over time, not as a transaction. I can't afford a better apartment, Naomi said quietly. Not without Ryan's income. The job pays you $55,000. You can afford something better than a studio in Riverside. Michelle's voice was gentle but firm. I know it feels wrong to use money Ryan provided through employment, but that's legitimate income, Naomi. You earned it. Derek will say Ryan inflated my salary. And we'll show that program coordinators with your experience and portfolio make that range. I've already researched comparable positions. Michelle looked between them. Look, I know this is hard, but Derek's betting on you being too proud or too scared to fight smart. We prove him wrong by playing this perfectly. Ryan spoke quietly. What about my testimony? I can explain how we met, why I hired her. And Derek's lawyer will tear apart every word, implying you're either complicit in a transactional relationship or naive enough to be manipulated. Michelle shook her head. Your testimony helps in some ways, hurts in others. We use it carefully. Naomi felt sick. This is insane. He abandoned us. He wanted nothing to do with Lily. And now he gets to weaponize my life against me. That's how abusers work. They don't want you, they want control. And if they can't have it through relationships, they'll take it through the courts. Michelle's expression softened. But here's the good news, judges see through this. They see men who suddenly care about kids they ignored. They see retaliation disguised as parental concern. We just need to make the pattern crystal clear. How long until court? Ryan asked. Preliminary hearing in 3 weeks. Full custody hearing likely 2 months after that. Michelle closed the folder. Which gives us time, but not much. Naomi, I need you to start documenting everything. Every interaction with Derek. Every milestone with Lily. Every proof point that you're a stable, loving mother. I can do that. And Mr. Mitchell, I need you to be visible but not overbearing. Be the supportive partner, not the white knight riding in to save her. Derek's narrative falls apart if Naomi is clearly the one in control of her own life. After the meeting, Naomi and Ryan sat in his car in the parking garage, both silent. Finally, Naomi spoke. Maybe Derek's right. Don't. Ryan's voice was sharp. Don't do that. About what we are. Not the transactional part. I know that's bullshit. But about the optics. She turned to face him. Ryan, a judge is going to look at us and see exactly what Derek wants them to see. A rich white guy and a struggling black single mom who met in the most unequal circumstances possible. So what? That's just the beginning of our story, not the whole thing. But it's the part that matters in court. It's the part Derek will use. Her voice cracked. And what if he's right that I can't prove I'm stable without you? What if every good thing in my life right now traces back to you, and that makes me look dependent? You're not dependent. You're employed. You have your own income. That you gave me. That you earned. Ryan grabbed her hands. Naomi, stop letting him do this. Stop letting him make you question yourself. I'm not questioning myself. I'm being realistic. She pulled her hands back. And the reality is that my life looks completely different than it did 3 months ago, and all of it connects to you. New job, new apartment I'm supposed to get, new stability. It's all you, Ryan. It's all you, he countered fiercely. You did the work. You built the programs. You earned every dollar. I just gave you the opportunity. There's a difference. Is there? Because from the outside looking in. I don't care how it looks from the outside. His voice rose. I care about the truth. And the truth is that you're an incredible mother, an incredible woman, and you deserve every good thing that's come your way. Derek doesn't get to take that from you. He might not have to. The court might do it for him. Ryan slumped back in his seat, defeated. So what do we do? Naomi's throat burned with unshed tears. I don't know. But I can't lose Lily, Ryan. She's everything. And if being with you costs me her. Don't finish that sentence. His voice was raw. Don't you dare finish that sentence. I have to think about it. About what's best for her. Being with her mother who loves her is what's best for her. not being handed to an abusive father who only wants her as a control mechanism. I know that, but what if the judge doesn't see it that way? They sat in agonizing silence. Finally, Ryan spoke, his voice barely above a whisper. Do you want me to step back? Naomi's heart shattered. What? If my being with you hurts your case, if it gives Derek ammunition, I'll step back. I'll stay away until after the hearing. I'll do whatever it takes to protect you and Lily. Ryan, I love you more than I love being with you. He looked at her, his eyes glistening. If me disappearing for a while keeps Lily safe, I'll do it. I'll hate every second, but I'll do it. Tears spilled down Naomi's cheeks. That's not fair. You shouldn't have to. Life isn't fair. You taught me that. He reached over, wiped her tears with his thumb. Michelle said we need to be strategic. Maybe part of that strategy is showing you're perfectly capable of standing on your own. I don't want to stand alone anymore. I know. God, I know. His own tears fell. But if it's what keeps your daughter with you, isn't it worth it? Naomi wanted to say no. Wanted to be selfish, to cling to the happiness she'd finally found. But when she thought about Lily, about losing her, about Derek getting custody, the choice became clear. I need to think about this, she whispered. Okay. Ryan nodded, his face breaking. Think about it. And whatever you decide, I'll support you. Even if I decide we need to pause things? The word pause hung between them like a death sentence. Even then, his voice cracked. I waited 3 years to feel alive again, Naomi. I can wait a few more months if it means you get to keep Lily. If it means you're safe. She leaned over, pressed her forehead to his. I love you. I love you too. So much. He cupped her face, kissed her softly, desperately. Whatever happens, that doesn't change. But as Naomi walked to her car alone, she felt the walls closing in. Derek had done exactly what he'd intended, made her question everything, turned her happiness into a weapon, forced impossible choices. And she hated that he was winning. That night, Naomi lay awake long after Lily fell asleep. Her phone sat on the tiny nightstand, Ryan's last text still on the screen. I'm here. Whatever you need. I love you. She wanted to call him. Wanted to hear his voice, let him comfort her, pretend everything would be okay. But she couldn't stop seeing it. The courtroom, the judge, Derek's lawyer painting her as a desperate woman who'd traded herself for security. Ryan's presence making everything look worse, even though it was the best thing in her life. Her phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. You know I'm right. He's temporary. I'm permanent. Come back before this gets uglier. Derek. Naomi's hands shook as she typed back. Stay away from me. My lawyer will handle all communication. The response was immediate. Your lawyer that your boyfriend paid for? That'll look great in court. She threw the phone across the room, heard it clatter against the wall. Then she buried her face in her pillow and sobbed. For Lily. For Ryan. For herself. For the impossible situation she couldn't escape. She'd fought so hard to be free. And somehow, she was trapped again. The next morning, Naomi called in sick to work. She couldn't face Ryan. Couldn't face the office. Couldn't face pretending she had any control over her life. Instead, she took Lily to the park, their park, where they'd spent countless afternoons when she couldn't afford anything else. They fed ducks, played on swings, had a picnic of peanut butter sandwiches. Mommy sad? Lily asked, her small hand patting Naomi's cheek. A little, baby. But being with you makes it better. Ryan makes you happy too. Naomi's throat closed. Yes, he does. Where is he? Working. Can we see him soon? I don't know, baby. Maybe. Lily frowned, the expression so serious on her tiny face. I love Ryan. I know. Me too. Then why are you crying? Because sometimes love isn't enough. Because the world is cruel and unfair. Because I might have to choose between you and him, and you'll always win, but it'll break me. Because sometimes grown-ups cry, even when they're happy, Naomi said instead, forcing a smile. It's okay to cry. Lily hugged her tight. Don't be sad, Mommy. We're together. We're together, Naomi repeated, holding her daughter like she was the only solid thing in a crumbling world. And she made a decision. That afternoon, Naomi called Michelle. I need to ask you something. Completely honest answer. Always. If Ryan and I publicly ended our relationship, if we made it clear we're not together, would that help my case? Michelle was quiet for a long moment. It would remove Derek's biggest ammunition, yes. But Naomi, just yes or no. Would it help? Yes. It would help. Okay. Naomi's voice was hollow. That's what I needed to know. She hung up before Michelle could say anything else. Then she called Ryan. He answered on the first ring. Naomi, are you okay? Patricia said you called in sick. I need to see you. Can you come over tonight? After Lily's asleep? Of course. What's wrong? We just need to talk. You're scaring me. I know. I'm sorry. Just come tonight. Please. I'll be there. Ryan arrived at 8:30 with takeout from her favorite Thai place and worry etched into every line of his face. You didn't have to bring food, Naomi said, letting him in. You didn't eat lunch. Figured you hadn't eaten dinner either. He set the bag on the small table. Naomi, what's going on? She couldn't look at him. If she looked at him, she'd lose her nerve. I talked to Michelle. And she said that if we ended things, publicly, obviously, it would help my case. A lot. Silence. Heavy and awful. So that's what you want to do? Ryan's voice was carefully neutral. I don't want to. But Ryan, she finally looked up at him. I can't lose Lily. I can't. And if being with you gives Derek even a 1% better chance of taking her, I can't risk it. We don't know that the relationship hurts your case. We don't know that it doesn't. She wrapped her arms around herself. And I can't gamble with my daughter's life. Not even for you. Especially not for you. Ryan flinched like she'd hit him. What does that mean? It means you deserve better than this. Better than being someone's liability. Better than having to hide or step back or... Her voice broke. You've already lost so much. I won't let you lose yourself trying to save me. I'm not trying to save you. I'm trying to love you. And I love you for it. But love isn't enough right now. Tears streamed down her face. Right now, I need to be a mother first. And that means making the hard choice. The hard choice is fighting for us. No. The hard choice is letting you go so I don't drag you into my mess. She wiped her eyes. Derek was right about one thing. I brought chaos into your life. You were finally healing, finally moving forward, and then I came along with my baggage and my ex and my problems. Stop. Ryan moved toward her, but she stepped back. Don't. Please don't. If you touch me, I'll break. And I need to be strong right now. Naomi. I need you to go. The words came out strangled. I need you to respect my choice and go. This is Derek winning. You know that, right? This is exactly what he wants, to isolate you, to take away your support system. Then he wins. Her voice was flat. Because Lily losing her mother is worse than me losing you. Ryan's face crumpled. What about what I lose? Don't I get a say? You get to walk away with your life intact. Your reputation. Your freedom. She forced herself to stay strong. I'm giving you an out, Ryan. Take it. I don't want an out. I want you. Well, you can't have me. Not right now. She moved to the door, opened it. Please leave. Naomi. Please. She was begging now, barely holding it together. Please just go. This is hard enough without. Without what? Without me fighting for you? Without me reminding you that we're stronger together? Ryan's voice rose. Fine. I'll go. But I'm not giving up on us. You should. Well, I won't. He stopped at the door, looked at her one last time. I love you. That doesn't just disappear because things get hard. Sometimes love isn't enough. I don't believe that. And I don't think you do either. He left, and Naomi closed the door behind him, then slid down it to the floor. She'd just destroyed the best thing in her life. And she'd done it to protect the most important thing in her life. And she'd never felt more broken. The next 2 weeks were agony. At work, they were professional, cordial. But the warmth was gone, replaced by polite distance that made Naomi want to scream. Ryan respected her boundaries. No calls, no texts, no attempts to change her mind. And somehow that made it worse. Him being exactly what she'd asked for felt like losing him all over again, every single day. Lily kept asking about him. Where's Ryan? Why doesn't he come over anymore? He's busy with work, baby. But he loves us. I know. Naomi's heart fractured a little more. But sometimes people who love each other can't be together. Why not? Because life is complicated. Lily didn't understand. How could she? She was 2 years old and saw the world in simple terms. People either loved each other or they didn't. If only it were that simple. The preliminary hearing arrived like an executioner. Naomi sat beside Michelle in the courtroom, her hands shaking despite her best efforts to appear calm. Derek sat across the aisle with his lawyer, a smug-looking man in an expensive suit who kept glancing at Naomi like she was a bug he planned to crush. Ryan wasn't there. She'd asked him not to come, and he'd respected that, even though she could hear the pain in his voice when he'd agreed. The judge, an older black woman with kind eyes and a no-nonsense demeanor, reviewed the documents. Mr. Watkins, you're seeking custody of a child you voluntarily surrendered rights to 2 years ago. Explain. Derek's lawyer stood. Your Honor, my client has undergone significant personal growth and therapy since the separation. He recognizes his past mistakes and wants to be an active, positive presence in his daughter's life. Meanwhile, Ms. Carter's circumstances have changed dramatically: new employment, new relationship, unstable living situation. Unstable? Michelle stood. Your Honor, Ms. Carter has steady employment, a safe home, and has been Lily's sole caretaker since birth. Mr. Watkins has provided no financial support, made no attempts at contact, and only filed this petition after learning Ms. Carter was in a new relationship. This is retaliation, not genuine concern for the child. The judge looked at Derek. Mr. Watkins, did you know Ms. Carter was seeing someone when you filed? I knew she was involved with her employer, yes. And that concerned you? I was worried about Lily's welfare, about whether this man is safe, whether he's been properly vetted. Ms. Carter is the child's mother and primary caregiver. Do you have evidence he poses a danger? Derek faltered. No concrete evidence, but the relationship developed very quickly and... So this is about Ms. Carter's personal choices, not about the child's safety. Your Honor, I just want to be a father to my daughter. Then you should have been a father for the past 2 years. The judge's voice was sharp. Mr. Watkins, this court does not look kindly on parents who abandon their children and then use custody petitions as weapons. However, I will order a full evaluation before making a final ruling. Supervised visitation will begin immediately. Your Honor, Michelle started to object. Ms. Torres, the father has rights, even if he's exercised them poorly. Supervised visitation, 2 hours per week, with a court-appointed monitor. Full custody hearing in 8 weeks. Both parties will undergo evaluation. She looked at Naomi. Ms. Carter, I want to be clear, nothing I've seen suggests you're an unfit mother. But this court must consider what's in the child's best interest, and that includes evaluating all factors. The gavel came down. Naomi felt like she'd been hit by a truck. Supervised visitation. Derek would see Lily. Would have access to her, even in limited form. Could start building a case for more. Outside the courtroom, Michelle tried to sound reassuring. This isn't bad. The judge clearly sees through Derek's motives. And supervised visitation is controlled. He can't do anything without oversight. But he gets access to her. Naomi's voice was hollow. For now. But we'll show over the next 8 weeks that you're a stable, devoted mother, and he's an opportunist. We'll win this, Naomi. How can you be sure? Because the truth is on your side. But Naomi had learned the hard way that truth didn't always matter. Sometimes, the person with the better story won. And Derek was very good at telling stories. The first supervised visitation happened 3 days later in a sterile room at the Family Services building. Naomi watched through a one-way mirror as Derek held Lily, her daughter, her whole world, and smiled that charming smile that had once fooled her too. Hi, baby girl. I'm your daddy. Do you remember me? Lily shook her head, shy and uncertain. That's okay. We're going to spend time together now. Get to know each other. The court monitor, a kind-faced woman named Susan, sat nearby, taking notes. Lily kept looking toward the door, as if sensing Naomi was close. Want to color with me? Derek pulled out a coloring book, crayons. Your favorite, right? You like pink? I like purple, Lily said quietly. Purple. Purple it is. Naomi watched her daughter, wary, confused, trying to be polite to this stranger who claimed to be her father. And she hated every second of it. Michelle stood beside her. She's okay. Look at her body language. She's not scared, just uncertain. And Susan will note that. He left us. Naomi's voice was tight. He wanted nothing to do with her. And now he gets to play daddy for 2 hours a week and act like he cares. I know it's hard. But focus on the bigger picture. We're documenting everything. And when we get to the full hearing, I can't do this for 8 weeks. Naomi turned away from the window. I can't watch him manipulate her, can't watch him pretend to be something he's not. You can. Because you're stronger than you think. Michelle's voice softened. And because you're not alone, Naomi. You have support even if you've pushed some of it away. Naomi knew she was talking about Ryan. I did what I had to do. Did you? Because from where I'm standing, Derek accomplished exactly what he wanted. He isolated you from the person who makes you feel safe. That's not protecting Lily. That's letting Derek control you again. The words hit like a slap. You don't understand. I understand that you're terrified of losing your daughter. But you're so focused on appearing independent that you're making yourself actually isolated. There's a difference. Michelle paused. Ryan Mitchell isn't the problem in your case, Naomi. Derek is. And by pushing Ryan away, you're letting Derek dictate your life again. What if you're wrong? What if having Ryan in my life costs me custody? Then we fight it. But cutting him out preemptively? That's fear talking, not strategy. Naomi looked back through the window. Lily was coloring, her face serious and focused. Derek was on his phone, barely paying attention. Already bored with fatherhood. He's not going to change, Naomi said quietly. He'll do the supervised visits until the hearing, then disappear again when he realizes Lily doesn't worship him. This is all about control, not love. Exactly. So we document it. We show the judge who he really is. Michelle checked her watch. Session ends in 10 minutes. Then you get your daughter back, and Derek goes back to his life. For now, that's the win. But it didn't feel like winning. It felt like slow-motion drowning. That night, after Lily was asleep, Naomi sat in the dark and finally let herself break. She'd been strong for weeks. Strong through the custody filing. Strong through ending things with Ryan. Strong through the preliminary hearing. Strong through watching Derek play father to her daughter. But she was so tired of being strong. Her phone sat on the table, Ryan's contact still at the top of her favorites. She hadn't deleted it, couldn't bring herself to erase that last connection. Her finger hovered over his name. Don't. You made your choice. Don't drag him back into this. But God, she missed him. Missed his voice, his touch, the way he made her feel seen and valued. Missed the way Lily lit up when he walked in. Missed the future they'd been building before everything fell apart. The phone rang, startling her. Janelle. Hello. Okay, I've been patient, her sister said without preamble. But I'm done being patient. What the hell is going on with you? What do you mean? You know exactly what I mean. You broke up with Ryan, you're barely holding it together at work, and you sound like death every time we talk. So spill. Naomi's defenses crumbled. Derek's suing for custody. And I ended things with Ryan because my lawyer said it might help my case. And I just watched Derek pretend to care about Lily for 2 hours while I stood behind a mirror unable to protect her. And I'm so tired, Janelle. I'm so tired of fighting. Silence on the other end. Then, oh honey. I don't know what I'm doing anymore. I thought I was protecting Lily by pushing Ryan away, but now I'm just alone and miserable, and Derek's still winning. Does Ryan know about the custody battle? Yes. And what did he say when you broke up with him? That he loved me. That he wasn't giving up on us. Naomi's voice cracked. That he'd wait. And you believed him? I don't know. Maybe. But it doesn't matter because I can't. Stop. Janelle's voice was firm. Listen to me. You've spent your whole life protecting yourself because no one else would. Mom didn't. Derek didn't. You learned to be an island because being connected to people meant getting hurt. But Naomi, Ryan isn't Derek. And pushing away someone who genuinely loves you isn't strength. It's fear. What if I lose Lily because of him? What if you lose yourself because you keep pushing away everyone who cares? What if Lily grows up watching her mother choose isolation over love, and learns that's how you survive? Janelle paused. You're teaching her right now, Naomi. What do you want her to learn? The words hit like a sledgehammer. I don't know how to do this, Naomi whispered. I don't know how to let someone in without losing myself. Then you learn. You practice. You let Ryan love you and you love him back, and you trust that even if things get hard, you'll face them together. That's what partnership is. But the case? Screw the case. I mean, don't actually screw the case, but stop letting Derek control your happiness. If the judge can't see that you're a devoted mother who deserves love and support, then that's on the judge, not you. But don't do Derek's work for him. Don't isolate yourself just because he wants you to. Naomi closed her eyes. What if I already ruined things with Ryan? Then you call him right now and unruin them. Because from everything you've told me, that man is crazy about you. And crazy about you men don't disappear just because things get hard. I don't deserve him. Probably not. But he chose you anyway. So honor that choice by being brave enough to choose him back. After they hung up, Naomi sat staring at her phone for a long time. Then she made a call. Ryan answered on the second ring, his voice cautious. Naomi. I'm sorry. The words tumbled out before she could stop them. I'm so sorry. I was wrong to push you away. I was scared and stupid and I let Derek win, and I'm sorry. Naomi, slow down. I miss you. Her voice broke. I miss you so much it hurts. And I know I don't have any right to ask you to come back after what I did, but I'm asking anyway because Janelle's right. I'm teaching Lily how to survive, and I don't want to teach her that love is something you run from when it gets hard. Silence. Then, where are you? Home. I'm coming over. Ryan, it's almost midnight. I don't care. I'm coming over. Don't move. He hung up, and Naomi sat there shaking, wondering if she just made everything better or infinitely worse. 20 minutes later, there was a knock on her door. Naomi opened it to find Ryan standing there in sweatpants and a t-shirt, hair messy, eyes red-rimmed like maybe he hadn't been sleeping well either. "Hi," she whispered. "Hi." He stepped inside, closed the door. "You said you were sorry." "I am so sorry. I should never have." "Stop." He moved closer. "You don't have to apologize for trying to protect your daughter. I understand why you did it. I hated it, but I understood." "I was wrong though." Michelle said, "My sister said, everyone said I was letting Derek control me by pushing you away. And they were right." Tears spilled down her cheeks. "I was so scared of losing Lily that I lost you instead. And that was the wrong choice." "You didn't lose me." Ryan cupped her face, his thumbs wiping away her tears. "You could never lose me, Naomi. I meant what I said. I love you. That doesn't disappear because you got scared. I don't deserve you." "Stop saying that. We deserve each other. We deserve to be happy." He pressed his forehead to hers. "And we're going to fight for that. Together. No more pushing me away, okay?" "Okay," she whispered. "I'm sorry I wasted 2 weeks." "We didn't waste them. We learned something. We learned that we're better together than apart." He kissed her softly, and Naomi felt something in her chest unlock. "I'm not going anywhere, Naomi. Not for Derek, not for a judge, not for anything. You're stuck with me. Promise." "I promise." He pulled her close, and she buried her face in his chest, breathing him in. "Now tell me everything. Where are we with the custody case?" She told him about the supervised visits, about Derek's performance, about the upcoming evaluation. And Ryan listened to all of it, his arms tight around her, his presence solid and reassuring. "We're going to win this," he said when she finished. "How do you know?" "Because truth wins eventually. And the truth is that you're an amazing mother, Derek's a manipulative bastard, and Lily belongs with you." He kissed the top of her head. "Plus, we have Michelle, we have documentation, and we have me willing to testify about everything I've witnessed. Your testimony might hurt more than help." "Then it does. But I'm not hiding anymore. I'm not pretending we're not together to make Derek's case easier. We face this head-on, as a united front." Naomi pulled back to look at him. "What if we lose?" "We won't. But if somehow we did, which we won't, we'd appeal. We'd fight until there was nothing left to fight with. Because giving up isn't an option." His eyes were fierce. "Lily is your daughter. You've raised her, loved her, sacrificed for her. No judge with any sense will take her from you. I want to believe that. Then believe it. Believe in us. Believe that good things can happen to good people." "When did you become so optimistic?" "When I met you." He smiled. "You gave me hope again, Naomi. Let me return the favor." She kissed him then, pouring 2 weeks of loneliness and fear and longing into it. And he kissed her back like she was oxygen, like she was everything. When they finally broke apart, both breathing hard, Ryan rested his forehead against hers. "I love you," he said. "I'm in this for the long haul. Kids, chaos, custody battles, all of it. You and Lily are my family now. And I protect my family. I love you too." Naomi's voice was thick with emotion. And I'm sorry I forgot that for a while. You didn't forget. You were just scared. But you don't have to be scared alone anymore. They stood like that for a long time, holding each other in the quiet of her small apartment. And for the first time in weeks, Naomi felt like maybe, just maybe, everything would be okay. The next 8 weeks were a blur of preparation. Michelle worked them hard. Character witnesses, documentation, financial records, testimonials from everyone who'd ever seen Naomi with Lily. They built an airtight case showing her as the devoted, capable mother she was. Derek kept up the supervised visits, but his interest visibly waned. By week 3, he was showing up late. By week 5, he was on his phone the entire time. By week 7, he asked to reschedule twice. Susan, the court monitor, documented everything. Ryan was present but not overbearing, attending Lily's pediatrician appointments with Naomi's permission, having family dinners at her apartment, being a supportive partner without trying to take over. And slowly, Naomi let herself believe they might actually win. The custody hearing fell on a cold day in late February. Naomi wore a navy dress, professional but not trying too hard, and sat between Michelle and Ryan, her hands shaking despite her best efforts to stay calm. Derek sat across the aisle with his lawyer, looking confident. Too confident. The judge, the same woman from the preliminary hearing, reviewed the case file, then looked at both parties. I've read the evaluations. I've reviewed the supervised visitation reports. I've considered the character witnesses and financial statements. She looked at Derek. Mr. Watkins, you present as a changed man who wants to be a father. But the evidence shows spotty attendance at visits, minimal engagement with the child, and a pattern of using this process as retaliation against Miss Carter for moving on with her life. Derek's lawyer started to object, but the judge held up a hand. I've been doing this for 20 years. I know the difference between a parent seeking custody out of genuine concern and one seeking control. You, Mr. Watkins, fall firmly in the latter category. Derek's face went red. Ms. Carter, on the other hand, has demonstrated nothing but devotion to her daughter. Stable employment, safe housing, strong support system, excellent care. The child is thriving under her sole custody. The judge looked at Ryan. Mr. Mitchell, your presence in Ms. Carter's life has been scrutinized by this court, and I find nothing concerning. You've been respectful, appropriate, and supportive without overstepping. That's exactly what a good partner should be. Naomi's eyes filled with tears. Therefore, the court rules as follows. Full custody remains with Ms. Carter. Mr. Watkins' parental rights remain terminated per the original agreement. No visitation is granted at this time, though Mr. Watkins may petition for supervised visitation in 1 year if he can demonstrate sustained interest and stability. This case is closed. The gavel came down. It was over. Naomi turned to Ryan, and he pulled her into his arms as she sobbed. Relief, joy, the release of 2 months of fear. You won, he whispered. She's yours. She's safe. We won, Naomi corrected. We did this together. Across the aisle, Derek stood abruptly and stormed out without a word. And Naomi felt nothing but relief. He couldn't hurt her anymore. She was finally truly free. Naomi stood in the kitchen of their new house. Not Ryan's penthouse, not her studio apartment, but a home they'd chosen together, making breakfast while Lily colored at the kitchen table. Mommy, can Ryan take me to the park today? Maybe after lunch, baby. He's working this morning. Okay. Lily went back to her coloring, humming happily. The house was small but perfect. 3 bedrooms, a backyard, a neighborhood with good schools. Naomi had insisted on contributing to the down payment from her savings, and Ryan had agreed without argument. Their home. Their decision. Their life. She heard the front door open, Ryan's footsteps in the hall. Something smells good, he called. Pancakes. He appeared in the kitchen doorway, and Naomi's heart still stuttered when she looked at him. 6 months in, and she loved him more than she had that night in the courtroom. "Hi, Lily Bean." He ruffled her curls, kissed the top of her head, then moved to Naomi, wrapped his arms around her from behind, pressed a kiss to her neck. "Hi, beautiful." "Hi yourself." She leaned back into him. "How was your run?" "Good. Productive. Gave me time to think. About us. About this." He turned her around, and his expression was nervous and hopeful all at once. "About forever." Naomi's breath caught. Ryan pulled a small box from his pocket, dropped to one knee right there in the kitchen while Lily gasped with delight. "Naomi Carter, you saved my life. You taught me how to live again, how to love again, how to believe that good things can happen after tragedy. You're strong and brave and beautiful, and I want to spend the rest of my life proving to you that you deserve every good thing." His voice thickened. "Will you marry me?" Tears streamed down Naomi's face. "Yes. God, yes." He slipped the ring on her finger, simple, elegant, perfect, and stood to kiss her as Lily cheered. "Does this mean Ryan's my daddy now?" Lily asked. Naomi looked at Ryan, saw the hope and love in his eyes. "If you want me to be," Ryan said to Lily, "I would be honored to be your dad." "I want that." Lily nodded seriously. "You're the best." "No, kiddo. You're the best. Both of you." He pulled them both into a hug, this makeshift family that had found each other in the most unlikely way. And Naomi let herself feel it all, the joy, the relief, the overwhelming gratitude for second chances. She'd survived Derek, survived poverty and fear and the threat of losing everything. And on the other side, she'd found this. Partnership. Family. "I love you," she whispered to Ryan. "I love you too. Both of you. Forever." The backyard was full of people, friends from work, neighbors, Miss Jen, Janelle and her family visiting from Atlanta, Michelle and her wife, Patricia and other colleagues from Mitchell Holdings. It was Lily's 4th birthday, and she was queen of the celebration in her purple dress and sparkly crown. But it was also something else. Naomi stood at the edge of the patio, one hand on her rounded belly, 6 months pregnant with a baby girl they'd already named Emma Claire, honoring the daughter Ryan lost and the second chance they'd both been given. Ryan came up behind her, wrapped his arms carefully around her and their unborn daughter. "You okay?" he asked. "More than okay." She leaned back into him. "I was just thinking about where I was 2 years ago. Counting change for formula. Working 3 jobs. Barely surviving. And now I'm married to the love of my life. I have a daughter who's thriving. Another daughter on the way. A job I love. A home that's ours. A family." She turned in his arms. "Now I'm living, Ryan. Really living." "Me too." He kissed her softly. "You gave me that. You and Lily. We gave each other that." Lily ran over, breathless and happy. "Mommy, Daddy, come see what Miss Chin gave me." They followed her to the gift table, where a beautifully wrapped present sat. And as Naomi watched her daughter, their daughter, open gifts surrounded by people who loved her, she felt complete. The foundation Ryan started had helped hundreds of families now. Naomi had been promoted to director. They'd established an emergency fund for single parents facing situations like hers. They'd changed lives. And in the process, they'd built a life together that neither had thought possible. That night, after the guests left and Lily was asleep, Naomi and Ryan sat on the back porch under the stars. "Do you ever think about the grocery store?" Naomi asked. "About that night?" "All the time." Ryan laced his fingers through hers. "Best night of my life." "Really? Not our wedding?" Not finding out about Emma? Those are close seconds. He smiled. But that night in the grocery store, that was the night everything changed. That was the night I saw you and knew, somehow, that you were going to save me. I think we saved each other. Yeah. He kissed her hand. We did. They sat in comfortable silence, Naomi's hand resting on her belly where their daughter kicked gently. Do you think Emma knows? Naomi asked softly. The first Emma, I mean. Do you think she knows she's going to have a little sister named after her? I think Claire knows. And I think she's happy. Ryan's voice was thick. I think she'd love you, Naomi. I think she'd be glad I found you. I wish I could have met her. Me too. You two would have been friends. They sat there as the night deepened, two people who'd found each other in the wreckage and built something beautiful. And as a shooting star streaked across the sky, Naomi closed her eyes and made a wish. Not for more. Not for different. Just for this life, this love, this family, to last forever. And somewhere in her heart, she knew it would. Because some love stories don't just survive the hard things. They're forged by them. And that made them unbreakable.